Hi everyone. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit more about the whole amusement park thing. So yesterday I was talking about Opryland. Let's talk a little more about Opryland. So me and my family went to Opryland just a handful of times back in the early 90s. Early to mid 90s, I'd say. Well, considering that the park closed in 1997, that kind of takes the whole mid 90s thing out of the way right there. I do specifically remember, I think, we went one of the times when they had the advertisements out for the Hangman roller coaster, which they opened in 1995, which is crazy to me. They spent all this money and all this time getting this giant roller coaster up and going, and they close and demolish the park 2 years later? Like, less than 2 years later? Like, what? That doesn't sit right with me. That doesn't sound like, did the company Gaylord just completely just throw in the hat and just say, we don't want to deal with it anymore, we don't want to take care of a park? I think they kind of did. Because on their Wikipedia page it said they got rid of the park because they wanted to focus on more hospitality type of stuff. Like, okay, so, I don't know, so you're going to demolish a park where tons of people from all over came from just to come to that park every year. You're going to demolish that and put in a shopping mall that is only going to serve that town? Okay, yeah, that makes total sense. I've been to that mall. It's nothing special. Nobody even cares. Everybody's still pissed that you got rid of a perfectly good amusement park, okay? I mean, that's not even the first time. Astroworld. They did the same thing with Astroworld. Astroworld had, I think it said like, it didn't say, I counted on the map at least 9, maybe 10 roller coasters, and they demolished the whole thing. And from what I could tell from the pictures and stuff that I saw, the land is still just sitting there. Is it not? I don't know, it might not be. I'm not really looking too deep into this. I'm just talking about what, like, pisses me off. I didn't do, like, super research. I read the Wikipedia page for Opryland, and that was about it. And then I looked up some pictures. So, I mean, I am in no way, a professor on this kind of crap. I'm just talking about what interests me and, like, my thoughts on it. It just pisses me off. Like, the whole thing that I have a hard time, like, wrapping my head around is the fact that, like, so many people had so many good child memories there, and childhood memories, and just such good moments of their lives at those parks, and they just completely came in and wiped it off the earth. Like, it was never there. When all we have now is just our memories and a couple old pictures. Like, it's just that sad. That hurts my heart. My little child heart, it's broken. And one of the big reasons, like, I live states away from Nashville, from Opryland, but we went there a few times. We would take huge family road trips and go up to Tennessee, and if we were lucky, we only got to do this like twice at least. If we were lucky and like we were really good that year, we got to go to Opryland and Dollywood. And like for us, that was like, whew, nothing topped that. Nothing. That was like the pinnacle. Going on a road trip for 2 weeks and being able to go to Dollywood and Opryland. That was awesome. There was nothing better. Because, I mean, where I live now, in the theme park that is accessible to us in this part of the state sucks. It sucks. If anybody's wondering what theme park I'm talking about, I am talking about Six Flags Over Texas. It is the grossest park I have ever been to in my life. Hands down. Okay, I mean, I haven't been to a shit ton of amusement parks in my life. I've been to Silver Dollar City, Dollywood, Opryland USA, Walt Disney World, and all their parks encompassing the Epcot and Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, all their parks. But by far, oh, and Six Flags over San Antonio, or whatever that one is down there, and SeaWorld, which, don't even get me started on SeaWorld. Like, not very many rides and a bunch of whales. What? I don't get it. I don't find that entertaining at all. Just don't understand. Plus, I don't like how, obviously, the whales are kept in, like, tiny-ass little areas. I don't believe in that. It's not cool, but also it's not a good park, at all. Like, I don't understand, like, the parks with, like, animals in it. I don't get it. But, so I've been to, you know, a few parks over my lifetime, and Six Flags is by far the crappiest, dirtiest, most broken, horribly planned park I've ever been to in my life. I get it that the park is old. My parents went to the park as teenagers. That's how long the park has been here. It's been here since at least the 50s or 60s, for sure. It's the grossest park. I went there right after it opened for the season, and this year, and there was stuff that they were still working on. There was this is what got me. Okay, so over in, like, the kiddie section, like, we walked all around the park, which takes all of, like, 30 minutes because the park is, like, this small. So we walked over through the kiddie section, and there is a broken, empty water fountain with bricks just, like, falling off of it. It's not, like, roped off. There was no cones or anything around it. And meanwhile, there's small children playing 2-3 feet away from it, while there's this broken, disgusting, like, mosquito-filled hole in the ground that they didn't bother covering up, cleaning up, fixing it up. Nothing. It was just there, broken and gross. Okay, that's one. Two, we got on the train, just ride the train around, because also, okay, this is the third point, it's in a freaking hole. Okay, nothing is covered. Texas is hot as hell, and you're just gonna, I mean, like, it's in a hole. There's not, it's bad planning all around. There's not enough trees. There's not enough covered areas. Even the people in the costumes, first off, the costumes look dirty as hell and they're gross, but the people poor people walking around in those costumes greeting kids, there's, like, no good spot for them to be. There was so many times that we would get, like, stuck just walking down the main thoroughfare because there was a line of people just cutting off, like, straight in the middle of, like, a walkway, because they had no spot to put these characters to meet people. They were just plopped around wherever, and then people are too stupid to, like, get out of the way of, like, people walking. It was ridiculous. There we go. Okay, so broken stuff. Two was we got on the train, and first off, the train was so disgusting and so dirty, I didn't want to touch anything on it. The, like, covering, the awning that, like, hangs over the top of the train and, like, hangs off the sides was so caked in, like, dirt and soot that you could barely tell what color it was. It was red and green striped, but it was so caked in dirt that it was disgusting. You couldn't tell. It was just, like, a brown. They couldn't bother cleaning anything, apparently. Like, it's opening season, basically. It just opened, like, a week or two before open season. They didn't bother cleaning anything. Oh, and this is the other thing. I guess my family's kind of spoiled by the whole Disney thing. Disney takes care of their parks. If there's a light bulb out, they fix it ASAP. If there's something that's scratched, they repaint it. Everything is spotless. Not at Six Flags. Everything is dirty and broken. Also, their bathrooms are so tiny, they're probably from the 60s or 70s. I'm not kidding. I had to go to the bathroom once. the only bathroom around in like this whole area of this like one part of the park we were at, there was like 3 stalls, and because of that, there was literally a line of like 20 women out the door. And it was just like this rotating, disgusting, everything was wet, everything was dirty, there was like muddy footprints everywhere, people were peeing all over the floor. I mean, it was so gross. Oh, and on top of that, they didn't even have a door stop to keep the door open. There was a line of 20 women having to hold the door open and touching the dirty door because they can't even put out a door stop. It was ridiculous, and it looked like nobody had come in to clean the bathroom at all that day. It was disgusting. Honestly, it was so bad. It was just so bad. Okay, and then 4, their like main brand new ride that was supposed to be like opening around that time wasn't open. They had it blocked off so much that it cut into like the main walkway, so you kind of had to just go around it, and that park is planned out horribly. It's just not good. Like, there's no like main circle. There's like one main walkway, but then if you go down towards like Mexico area, there's like a Spanish area and like a Mexico area, I think, and like a Texas area. You just have to go down this tiny little like thin walkway to like get back to it. And it's just an awkward park. Like, I get it, but like they could have managed like their size a lot better. Like, they have a whole huge parking lot, and I get that they need that, but they could take out some of that parking lot, build a parking garage, parking structure, and then they could expand their park rather than just like attaching things here and there, things that don't make any sense. Another thing that's horrible is their branding. The way that they brand the park. Is it Six Flags? Is it different lands? Is it France and Spain and Texas? Or is it Batman World with all these Batman characters? And then, or is it Bugs Bunny World with all these, you know, Bugs Bunny and Porky Pig and Yosemite Sam? Or is it, you know, just there's more characters. I can't even think of them. It's so jumbled together. You can't tell what is what in the park. You know, it's Six Flags, but then there's Bugs Bunny, and then there's all these like DC characters and like Batman, and like, what are you doing? You know, and like there's, what was it, a couple years ago they came out with that new ride that's supposed to be like the tallest like chair swing or something. It takes you all the way up and it just spins you around. Who cares? Like, that was like all over the news. Nobody cared. Like, oh wow, look at that swirling death trap. Don't want to go on that ever. Like, they could have just, it's just, the entire time we were there, me and my brother just walked around and just remarked at how horrible the park was. And I know you're asking me, then why the hell did you go? It's the only theme park that we can go to that isn't like a road trip away. Like a half a day or a day of driving away from us at least. That's the best we can do, and especially with my brother having like Disney World withdrawals because that's like his favorite park now. He got a season pass to Six Flags because he figured, well, if I feel like leaving the house for a couple hours and going and getting on a roller coaster, I can do that and then just get on back home. Well, I went with him. The one time I went with him was because there was a free day where if you had a season pass, you can bring somebody with you for free. So I went. First off, they did this on a Sunday to make it uber crowded. I mean, like, regular people were there. Free buddy day was there, but they could have done it on like a Thursday or something when the park would be less busy to begin with, so that the people who had the friend coming with them for free would have more of a reign over the park rather than just a regular weekend day when it's going to be crowded as hell anyway. Oh my god, though. Like, we got there early, which is a smart idea. I mean, the park, you know, before the park gets super busy, and honestly, I've never seen the park be, like, super busy. Like, I've never really stood in super long lines for the park because, or super long lines for the rides because, the rides aren't that great. They really aren't. Like, I would never get on the Texas Giant. It looks cool, but I wouldn't. You know, it doesn't seem safe to me. I don't know, and I love wooden roller coasters, but I just don't trust the Six Flags kind of a thing. Like, if they don't take care of their parks that much, and if everything's that dirty, it can't be that good, right? I don't know, that's how I feel. Going back to the fact that I went with my brother on Bring a Friend for Free Day, apparently that was also Bring a Meth Head for Free Day, because that is legit half the people we saw. Like, it looked like straight up homeless people walked up in there. And it was kind of disconcerting because I didn't bring my purse with me. I just had a little backpack with some of my little, you know, stuff put in it inside of, like, Ziploc bags so that if I went on a wet ride, nothing would get wet. But, you know, my couple little things were with me, and I was literally like, I think it's time to go because I think we might get robbed in the park. Like, it was, you know, in coming from somebody who has anxiety and is paranoid about stuff like that anyway, I was on guard because I was like, some of these people look shady as hell, and, you know, like, let's go. And it was just, it's not a good, in my opinion, it's not a good park. I know there's plenty of people out there who love Six Flags. You know, Six Flags was cool when I was little. We went to Fright Fest a couple times for my birthday when I was little. It was badass looking. But now, for some reason, I guess the economy or whatever just kind of took a nosedive, and that park is not doing so good. It is just a hot, dried out. Oh, and then the other thing. This was the thing that I thought was hilarious. It made me and my brother roll our eyes at each other. So we're on the train, right? And most trains, you know, they have like a little, you know, somebody will say something, look to your left, look to your right, blah, 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 blah. So you could tell as we're riding on the train that they had stuff out there at some point or whatever, but there was nothing out there really. And the stuff that they did have out there looked like it was supposed to be like, you know, doing stuff, like some guy was dunking himself in a bucket and like, you know, stuff like that, but it wasn't working. Well, this thing came on, it was like, if you look to your left, if you look to your right, and like nothing was working. So it was like, I'm looking, nothing's happening. Nope, nothing over there either. Like, it was like, and now we're in our wonderful flower section of the park, and if you look to your left, you'll see, you know, roses or whatever. If you look to your right, you'll see this. There was no flowers. There was nothing. There was just trees. Like, we're like, okay, yeah, you need to update this. You need to paint your train, and you need to wash it, because clearly you never have, and you need to either plant flowers or take this old recording off that's like 5 years old, because there was no flowers whatsoever. Like, the park itself is like guarded by like a fence, and that's just covered with like vines and trees, and that's all it is. There was no flowers, there was no nothing. It was pretty lame. I don't really, I mean, again, I haven't had fun at that park since I was a child, so, I mean, maybe I need to give it another try, but honestly, I don't want to. They do have Dole Whips, though, which is good. That's great. But, it's just, to me, it's not a good park. It's not in a good part of town. There's not a whole lot of stuff around it that makes it a good park. Everything is very dated. The roads are very dated. The restaurants around there are very dated. There's like an abandoned mall across the street from it. That's not attractive. Maybe not exactly across the street, but it's like in that same area. I mean, they could do so much more stuff with that park and with that area if they put the money and the time into it, but I guess they don't have either one of those. I think they have the time, but they don't have the money. You know, like my brother, I think he said that his season pass is already running out or about to run out, and he's kind of like, I don't need to renew it. not gonna go back. It was just, it's a weird park. It's a very weird park. Not into it. The whole Batman area is very, like, just thrown out there, just attached, and, you know, they could do so much more with with the theming in general, with just the cleanliness of the park, I mean, they could add more trees, they could do all sorts of stuff. Now, like Silver Dollar City, for example, again, up north, there's more trees, there's mountains, but that park is covered in trees. If you go there in the fall, it's gorgeous because the leaves are turning, all the trees are like orange, everything is proportionally covered like it should be with trees and foliage, but it never gets that hot there. It'll sprinkle, like it'll start raining in the middle of the day and then it'll stop, but not a big deal. And they have some awesome roller coasters. A little mad that they took out the water toboggan, but whatever. You know, that kind of sucks though. But Silver Dollar City is an awesome park if you're ever in Missouri, Branson, Missouri. But that's the other thing. We went to Branson on a vacation 2 months ago. That town is gone. There's nothing left of that town, hardly. Everything that is there is just a horrible tourist trap, and the only thing that town has going for itself anymore is Silver Dollar City. I'm probably never going back, except to maybe go to Silver Dollar City, and that's it. And I do want to go back. I do want to go back to Silver Dollar City. We didn't go to Silver Dollar City last time. It was just a horrible trip, all in all. Like, a tornado hit 2 years ago, and it's like half the town was wiped out, and they just said, let's leave it. What? Like, there used to be some talented performers in that town. There used to be famous people performing in that town. There used to be amazing hotels, amazing shows, amazing places to shop. All that's gone. It's a town full of nobodies now. There is half the theaters that are there are on the brink of bankruptcy. If they're not already like converted into like a church, honestly. Like, a lot of the theaters that had been something years ago are now just churches. Or completely destroyed. Or just abandoned. There was tons of stuff abandoned just on the side of the road, which is crazy to me. There was a giant hotel that had gotten the doors blown off, the windows blown out, the roof taken off in the tornado years ago, and it's still just sitting there. Eerily, you can see it off the main highway, and you can see it off the back road, and it's creepy. And there's another hotel that my parents stayed at in the 70s, abandoned, falling apart on the main highway. It's amazing that nobody seems to care. Like, this was a great resort town and nobody gives a shit anymore. And again, that hurts my heart. Have a good day, okay? Bye.